Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Sylvan Tale. In the last part we got here to Sylva, and then our sword broke. The seed is broken. If you actually try to attack, you don't have anything. You can't even change it to any of your forms. So we want to head north of the house. You might remember that area I was in earlier where I got the last tree, the last dead tree orange. I actually refer to this place, I think I may have referred to it then, as the Three Trees area. There's a reason for that. See this patch of dirt? Raise the amulet aloft. And then that door I mentioned last part opens. Cool. But you do need to do this. In fact, this is towards the final area of the game. If you can't tell by the title of the video. And this is a bit annoying. There's a flame eye in here that we cannot kill, but we need to pull this rock around because there's a switch we need to press. However, if you actually are near the eye, it doesn't move. In fact, the one thing I don't like about this area is the fact you might not get the hint that this rock is pullable, because it doesn't look like the blocks or other things we pushed and pulled throughout the game. But that's a fairly minor complaint. You'll run out of things to try eventually and probably just try it out of a whim. Also, I love this song. Either way, pull the rock onto the switch, because if you push it, you won't be able to actually walk past it. And we want to do the same here because there's two more jets of fire blocking our way. And also, I'd like to introduce you to an old friend from my childhood, especially when I was playing stuff on the Genesis. Meet Slowdown. Ah, it's beautiful. I'm actually not sure of how good the specs of the Game Gear were compared to the likes of the Game Boy. But I don't recall the Game Boy, in my experience, ever slowing down this badly. It mostly just had a lot of sprite flicker. Which, mind you, is a way to make up for slowdown, just to make the sprites flicker so that there's not as much on-screen to slow the game down. By the way, turning off both jets allows us to come up here to find a transformation area. Where are we? We're next to the droplet. Okay, what's in here? That is the worst hiding place I've ever seen in my life. But with that, we got the purple droplet, and we have all 6 turning into the water prism, which kind of came out of nowhere last part. The seed is somehow restored, and with that, we have our attacks back. Deus Ex Machina? You might want to exit to the west, but actually we want to head towards the right, because you might remember she said that there was more than one prism. We have the water prism, then there's the prism of wind and light. Really random elements to choose, by the way. And if you take a look at the map now, you will actually see that instead, there are 2 pyramids towards the bottom right of the map. And we just arrived at one of them. Why do we want to come over here? If you take a look at the map, these are where the prisms are. Both of those little staircases in the previous area lead to a tower. Somehow, I don't get how that works from a space thing. And here's the first one. Let's get this rock out of the way. Can't push it. Okay. I'm gonna try again. Nope. Come on. Come on. Let's see. This looks like a mole rock, so let's give that a shot. Or spin dig. That works too. Come on. Break. Oh, really? Our truest of obstacles. A simple piece of stone. Pulling it this direction. Nope. Come on. What is going on? This rock is impossible. Really, what? Garcia? Okay, needs 2 of us. Random, I don't even see the point of that because honestly, that's the last time we see Garcia. He's never brought up again. Why do that? That's kind of weird. Okay, Anne? Yeah, you did kind of survive, didn't you? It won't be so easy, little boy. I've got plenty of love for you. I don't need your love, thank you. And it's time for Anne again, who is a variation of her original fight. She still splits into the original slimes, which not only do more damage, but I think move faster, and then she does the whole shadow thing. But when she lands, she's a bit different. She'll turn into this eyeball, which looks oddly like Vati from some of the Zelda games. And then she'll open her eye, which makes her open to attack. However, you don't attack her eye in time, she'll charge directly at you, which does a lot of damage even with the Pandora's Box damage upgrade. And this fight takes a while, so I'm speeding it up. That's the thing with this game's boss fights. They're either really easy or really annoying. There's not many really good boss fights in this game. Which is a shame, because boss fights should be a highlight in the game, but in this, they're just kind of, especially that stupid wizard last part. Oh no, 2 parts ago. I think last part because I'm actually recording 2 parts in one day, which is kind of rare for me nowadays, unlike my old early Mega Man Battle Network days where I would do like 2 or 3 parts in a day. Ah, memories. And there you go. Stay dead this time. But for beating her, we get the Wind Prism. Thank God you didn't drop this back in Verda. Otherwise, you would have been screwed. Or at least you would have screwed over everything in the plan. Though, actually, it could be from a storyline's sake that the reason that Anna's a different fight is because the prism's powering her up. That actually is a pretty decent excuse that the game probably could have used, but they didn't think of. Either way, now we want to head towards the northeast because the next boss fight and the next prism is over here. And this is actually a bit of a cryptic thing that you may not think to do because it's a very minor detail. We want to drop down here first, though, and grab that treasure chest because within it is the game's last orange. We have now basically reached 100%. See what I mean, though, about there being space on both sides? They could have gone the linked game Oracle of thing and had it be that if you did a certain thing, you could get fully across, but nah. You might remember if you've dropped a few times as the turtle that he flips on his back. Let's try that out. Well, that worked. What do we got down here? Gall again. Impudent brat. I'll send you the same place I sent that royal whore of yours. Oh boy, you can tell this is a fan translation. They are using language like that. That would not have happened if this was an officially localized game. Either way, Gall is actually not that different of a fight. In her first phase, she now has a little spider buddy helping her out, and the orbs now curve towards your direction when you're running away from them. However, the first phase is still pretty easy. In fact, I think it's a bit easier just because I think there's a bit more of a cooldown between the orb attacks. I am being a bit more reckless this time around by staying human Zets, but that also means I'm doing more damage to her, making it an overall shorter phase. The second phase is not only a bit faster and hurts more, as you can clearly see, but once we do a few, I forget if it's a number of jumps or a number of hits against her, she'll split up into mini spiders which bounce all around the room using physics somehow. And then it just repeats from there. Gall, I think, is actually the easier of the 2 fights, and if you want to get the orange, this is actually the fight I recommend taking on before Anne. But it's overall still very rudimentary, although I'm taking a lot of damage. Oh god. Apple, I need your help now. Oh boy. Yeah, as you can see, once you get higher in health, the apple doesn't heal you all the way. I think at maximum health it only deals about half your HP. Which is kind of stupid. A healing item like that should do all of it, but that's what the grapes are for, I suppose. It's mostly there for you in a pinch. Gall, the second Gall fight, though, is not that hard. She can damage you, or I think it's a she. It's either a she or a he, and I cannot tell. Because the concept art in the manual is a bit androgynous. As is most anime. Either way, for beating him, we get the Light Prism. We can now charge up the sword to do the power slash since we have all 3. Essentially, how do I compare this? I guess it's similar to the spin attack from Zelda. If you hold the button down, eventually Zets will start glowing blue, and you can do the power slash. You need this, because you need to have it to fight the final boss. And speaking of which, we're actually now primed to go fight that. We want to head back to the tower, though off screen I did get another apple from the mole back in Flora. We want to head back to that skeleton guy who gave us a hard time last part. And let's have a conversation with him now that we have that power slash. Also, you still need the amulet in order to get over this room. Hey there, buddy. It's been about 24 hours or so. What do you think of this power slash ability? You do not like it at all. Now that we've destroyed that skull, this creepy thing is now vulnerable to be damaged. Just stand right in front of him and spam the 100 slash. You should not lose. That's cathartic. I'll admit to that. I love it when games do that. And now we have a ladder randomly, which leads us back out to what? But the tower's fallen. Now, if you were paying attention last part, when I fell in that area with the, what's it called? Where you have to have the amulet on, you may have noticed that there was a door just out of reach. Now that tower's fallen, let's check if that door is actually now within it. And it is. I recommend you save like I did before entering this, because we're heading right to the final boss. Also, have the grapes on. Just call it a hunch. Ah, Sparkles, my main enemy. Well, this is ominous music. Oh, hi there, Satan. So you've come this far. Impressive. You must be exhausted, as is your good fortune. The prisms, the seed. Their radiance befits one such as myself far more than a brat like you. Final boss of the game is Dark Emperor Moa. And he starts off by sending orbs in your direction, coming from the 8 cardinal directions in the order of up, down, left, right, and then the combinations of such, then the main ones again. At which you actually need to, well, first off, then he'll reform, raising his right hand at this point, which just does this attack over and over again. You need to hit him with a normal slash to stun him, then do the power slash to damage him, after which he'll move, and you can repeat it a second time. He does this for a bit. The final boss is honestly not that hard, but it's honestly the best boss in the game, which is pretty sad. But it should be a climactic duel, I suppose. Eventually, he will gain access to 2 more attacks, one where he raises his other hand and one where he raises both. Although, if I recall correctly, once he starts doing another attack, he'll only use that attack. He does teleport around, but honestly, it's not that annoying of a teleport. I've seen much worse in other games. But it's still overall annoying. Also, don't let him touch you. And now he's raising his right hand to attack, which he'll send sparkles out towards the top of the screen, in which case they'll then sweep across the screen in some random formation. If you want to dodge it, just stay at the bottom of the screen, they'll never touch you. I'm honestly kind of disappointed, all things considered, because this game, to this point, was pretty interesting, and even the bosses, even though they're fairly meh, have had some ideas with them, but this fight's honestly pretty generic. Mind you, I guess on the whole, this is a fairly generic action-adventure game, but it had such potential. And I have to admit, yeah, I do like the look of Moa. This guy looks like he'd be the final boss, or at least the first phase of a final boss in a much better game. And now he's raising both hands, which means he's going to have 3 lasers at the top of the screen, which fire once, and then he does it all over again. Honestly, his final attack is his worst one, because it's so easy to dodge. It does a lot of damage, I'll admit that, but you shouldn't be getting hit by it if you're paying attention. Mind you, I guess this is a fate befitting a guy like Moa, who is a final boss that's only mentioned, I think, maybe once in the manual, and otherwise, if you're just playing the game, is all Necron? Don't think you've seen the end of me. I will surely rise again. Someday, for sure. Yeah, okay, just explode. Moa is a disappointingly easy final boss. Okay, what happens now? We've saved the world, but what do we do now? Okay, fist bump, that's cool. The prisms? Rui's ghost, although you might not be able to see it because it's flickering. Thank you, Zets. Your courage has given Sylvalant hope of revival. You needn't worry about what'll befall you now. The seed will take care of you wherever you wish to go. Zets, thank you so much. Zets, It's up to debate what she was going to end that sentence with. The most common one, and honestly the one I can see, is that Zets is Rui's son. That would explain why she knew about the baby and why she spoke so familiarly to him. Either way, ladies and gentlemen, that is Sylvan Tale. And how is it? It's pretty good. It's not my favorite Game Gear game. That's still more than likely Tales Adventure. But I still think it's a very strong game for what it is. It looks great for the system. It sounds great, a few songs aside. And while the story is very, very lackluster, a bit worse than some of the older Zelda games, actually, it's still an enjoyable time. In fact, it's so short you can probably beat it in a day. In fact, most of the speedruns of this, I think, are just over an hour long. So it's, I'd say, worth a shot. And with that, that's also the end of the Game Gear-a-thon, which is mostly just a small Sonic-a-thon because that was most of the games I wanted to play. We will see the Game Gear again at some time in the future, particularly for one best of kind of game. But with that, but with this, I'm gonna leave the Game Gear alone for a while. I have some other games to go tackle on, particularly two I have in mind for the Super Nintendo, and a few other things along with that. I do wish that there was a bit more to this game, but I still think it's worth for what it was. But with that, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys for a bit more of a, let's say, 90s adventure. See you guys then. And fade to black.